All right, we are going to do a live English class. This is the first time I'm doing this. It's kind of an experiment. So I don't know if anybody's going to join. I don't know if I'll be able to see your comments. If you can, I have to get used to this whole situation here. It's been a while since I've made a video on this channel. So this is my first one, and this is, like I said, this is kind of an experiment. Let's see how it goes. What I have here is a children's comic book. It's in the public domain, so I'm not violating anybody's copyrights. And what I thought is we would explore one of the stories in this comic book. And then I've picked some things out, and we can do some exercises at the end. I've written some little short exercises for kind of interesting things, okay? So, but what we're going to do is we're going to go through the story step by step, frame by frame, and then, see, I'm already, oh wait, okay, this is how I have to do it, like this. And then we will explore all the vocabulary and phrases as we encounter them. Now this is a children's story, so it's very basic language, but there are some interesting things in here, because even when you're doing children's stories, there are all kinds of complicated things that come up. Okay, this is a story that I chose. I chose it at random. It's called Cuthbert the Calf. And you can see Cuthbert is the animal here, the little baby cow. Wait, let's see. That's a calf. A calf is a baby cow. So this is Cuthbert the calf. You see, that's a word that even many advanced people, many advanced English speakers probably don't know that word. All right. It's not a terribly important word, but nevertheless, it's good to know as many words as possible. Okay, so we've got Cuthbert the calf, and we can see he's got a little bird friend here. And let's take a look at what we have here. Cuthbert is a little calf who loves to jump about and laugh, with nothing else to do all day but eat and grow and run and play. Okay, to jump about. Let me ask you this question. What is the difference between jump and jump about? And you can put this preposition, it's kind of a postposition in this way, but you can put this preposition with lots of verbs, not just jump. Shop about, look about, run about. A lot of times, if you put the word about after a verb, it could mean to this place and to that place, to go all over, to go in different places. So if you say Cuthbert is jumping, well, that's just up and down. Jump, jump, jump. But when you say jump about, first he's here, now he's over there, now he's over here, that's jumping about. So if you walk about, that's a very famous Australian thing, to do a walkabout. That means walking from place to place, walking everywhere, going everywhere. So that word about after a verb means going, not always, but many times, means going from place to place, going to different places, not sitting still, not sitting in the same place. So Cuthbert is a little calf. He's a baby cow. And he loves to jump about. He loves to jump he loves to jump here, he loves to jump there, he loves to jump about, going different places, jumping. He loves to jump about and laugh. Ha 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 ha, laugh. With nothing else to do all day but eat and grow and run and play. Now this phrase, nothing else to do, is kind of interesting. And I've made an exercise with it. I think it's useful to practice that and to play around with that. So after we're finished with the story, we'll do a little practice. These are not going to be like the other videos where it's 10 or 15 minutes long. It'll just be 1 or 2 minutes of practice, and that's it. Okay, so we've got Cuthbert talking. He says, "Oh, how beautiful. So he's really enjoying the sight of this bird. He thinks it's a very beautiful bird. And then the bird says, "Gracious, how ugly." Now, this comic book was written in the 1950s, and I don't think that people would say that very much anymore, gracious. Maybe they'll say goodness gracious. I think maybe sometimes I might say goodness gracious, but not gracious alone. It's just a way of expressing surprise. Oh, gracious. Probably people would say gracious me, or good gracious. It's a way of expressing surprise, maybe bad surprise. Good gracious. It's very polite, but I don't think people use it very much anymore. And then we've got how ugly. Okay. Let's go to the next page here. So Cuthbert is chasing the bird, as you can see here. Wait, can you see my cursor if I do this? Like I said, I'm experimenting. This is my... No, it doesn't show. But we can see he was chasing the bird, and now he falls, and he says, "Oof," and the bird thinks it's very funny. And then he says he couldn't be dangerous. He's so awkward. Now, one of the things that I wanted to do with this new type of video is, let's see if I can just live search for some images. So for example, if now awkward just means uncomfortable, and actually that, again, I think that's one of the things we're going to practice at the end of the story. But let's see what kind of things. Okay, maybe this. I hope I don't get in trouble for showing these pictures, but oh well. So for example, here's the cover of a book that says awkward. And what do you think about these two kids here? Do they look comfortable, or do they look kind of nervous and uncomfortable? They're nervous and uncomfortable. They're awkward. Okay, we've got this. See, awkward always has to be with uncomfortable, not very, I don't want to show these other pictures. I don't know. Who knows what will pop up. So let's see. Here's another one that kind of shows awkward. See, they're trying to show that this guy is kind of awkward, uncomfortable. That's a very common word. It's a very good word to know. Look, I feel awkward. I feel uncomfortable. I don't feel like I fit. Socially awkward. You see, misfit, that means doesn't fit. You see. Just be yourself. You don't have to feel awkward. Okay. All right, let's go back to the comic. I think we practiced that. I think that's a word that we practice, but I don't remember. I wrote this a few days ago and now I forgot. So, poor little calf, poor little Cuthbert, he's very awkward, and the bird is laughing at him. He thinks it's funny that Cuthbert is so awkward. Okay. Let's see. The bird says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel sad. We can't all be beautiful and graceful." So the bird is saying, "I'm beautiful and graceful, and you're not." All right, let's see. So I just got a viewer. Hi, whoever you are. I can't see you. I can just see that there's a viewer, but I'm not sure how to work all of this because I'm experimenting. So I just see that there's somebody here. Hello. Okay, let's keep going. I must be off. I have a date with the flowers in the woods. So the beautiful bird is going to see the flowers in the forest. Can't I go too? I'll follow you anywhere. Okay. Can you fly? He says, I can try. And now he's having doubts. He says, did I say anywhere? Let's see. Liking pretty birds shows Cuthbert isn't very wise. So wise, if you don't know, is another word for smart. So liking because Cuthbert likes liking pretty birds, I guess he isn't very smart because it's getting him into some trouble. Okay, let's see. When he tries to leave the ground, he's sometimes up and sometimes down. So when he tries to leave the ground, sometimes he goes up and sometimes he goes down. Well, come on in if you're coming. Oh, come on if you're coming. So the bird is having fun watching Cuthbert try to fly. Gosh, if only I could learn to fly. Now that word gosh is actually, in English, it's not very polite to say God all the time. Sometimes if you're frustrated, you say, oh God. But it sounds a little bit strong. And then we have these little substitution words that you can use. Instead of God, you say gosh. And that's much more acceptable to say than, oh God. That sounds a little bit aggressive, not very nice. So maybe you've heard people say gee or gee whiz, and that's a substitution for saying Jesus. Oh, Jesus. You say, oh, gee. That's much nicer. Okay, let's see. Well, come on if you're coming. Come on. That means come with me. Come on, let's go. I'm waiting for you. That's what you say when you're waiting for someone. Come on. It's a little bit impatient, so make sure that it's somebody you're comfortable with. Come on. Gosh, if only I could learn to fly. So that's like, oh God, if only I could learn to fly. That would be weird to hear a little child saying, oh God. It's not very common, or at least not that I know of. Not any child that I've known. Maybe I could teach you if you'd practice. Oh boy, just show me. Okay. All right, come along. We'll find a good place for a lesson. I didn't rehearse this. I rehearsed another one because I was just seeing what will work and what won't work. But it was a much more advanced one. And what I found was in every line I had to go to a search engine and look for pictures, interesting pictures to show the meaning of these words. This is pretty easy, so I don't think we have to do that too much with this. But so maybe I'll finish up that more difficult one. That would certainly be a much longer video. But probably more vocabulary, because there's not a lot of vocabulary in here. All right, so let's see. We've got wham. Okay. Now the bird says, ah, just the spot. Now it's easy. Just do what I do. Cuthbert says, it hasn't been so easy. Now notice that he says just the spot. That's kind of an interesting expression. I'm not sure if you know what that means, but spot can mean place or location. And when you say something is just the spot, it means that's a perfect location for a special activity. So a library is just the spot for reading, or a park is just the spot for having a nice quiet lunch. That means it's the perfect place for an activity. Oh, just the spot. Now it's easy. Just do just what I do. Follow me. Do what I do. Do as I do. Follow what I do. Cuthbert says, it hasn't been so easy. Cuthbert says, I can't do it. I can't. I didn't know life could be so cruel. Okay, so he's very sad because he can't fly. All right, in the meantime, in the forest far below, for 20 years, we've worked to perfect my invention, and at last it's ready. Eureka! Success! Okay, Eureka, that's like an old, I don't know, maybe that comes from Greek. Maybe that's a Greek word, but in English, it used to be something that people would say when they've discovered something, or to celebrate that they've found something or discovered something. They would say Eureka. There's a a city in California called Eureka, California. And probably they named it Eureka because a lot of people in the 1900s were going to California to find gold. And that was like a famous word that they would say when they discovered gold. When they finally found the gold, they would say Eureka, because that's an exclamation that you say when you find something, when you discover something and you're very happy to celebrate. You say Eureka. Well, people don't do that anymore. But that's probably why Eureka, California is called Eureka, California, because it's right in that location and probably was a town settled at that time. So here we have somebody in a little house, a little cabin, and he says, for 20 years we've worked to perfect my invention, and at last it is ready. And he says, Eureka, success. So that's like his celebration word of having discovered something. Wings. Now man can soar through the air like a bird. And soar is a more dramatic way of saying fly. I don't know how much of a difference there is between soar and fly, except soar sounds more dramatic. Okay, but let's keep going here. Let's see, soar. Well, I wonder what happens if we use the word soar. Let's take a look. Soar. If I just type that, the kind of pictures I get are things like, whoops. Things like this. It's very common that when you talk about eagles flying, you say eagles soaring because it sounds more dramatic. I guess when you say soar, that's higher up in the sky, higher and faster, kind of impressive looking. And actually, I don't see much else. I see a balloon that's soaring. It's what you say when you want to make something sound more impressive when it's flying. So that's why we're using it here. Okay, let's see. Where are we? So wings. Now a man can soar through the air. Soar through the air like a bird. Now you can picture the eagle. Wow, look at that. Soaring. But who shall try them? I can't risk my own valuable neck. Of course, it's no risk, but let's see. So he wants to find someone to try his wings. And here comes Cuthbert trying to fly. It's no use. I'll never learn to fly. You want to fly? You're just what I need. I mean, I'm just what you need. So first he says, you're just what I need. And then he changes it and says, you're just what I need. Okay, let's see. Oh, here you go. Because earlier we had gosh, which is kind of a substitute word for God. It's just nicer to say. And you can say that whenever you want, and it's not offensive or anything like that. It's very soft. Oh, gosh. And the other one is G, which is short for Jesus. So here he says, gee, mister, like it's just an exclamation. It's just something you say when you're uncomfortable or when you're surprised or something like this. Here he wants to apologize for damaging his house. Gee, mister, I'm awfully sorry about your house. I'll help you rebuild. The house? Oh, don't give it a thought. I'll have palaces and you will have wings. Wings? You mean I can fly? Certainly. Try these on for size. Okay, so Cuthbert's happy. Now he can fly. Let's see. First time I've been out of that forest for 20 years. But I think you'd better stay in the open until you get the feel of these. I do too. That's a weird line. First time I've been out of that forest for 20 years. What does that have to do with him flying? I don't know. Okay. Now, be careful. Those are the only wings I have. Don't worry, I'll be careful. You think they'll really work? All right, then we've got, I can fly. Wait, there's something up here. Eureka, remember that word. Oh, it works. I discovered it. I found it. I found the answer. Eureka, it works. I'm a success. I'm amazing. Okay. And we've got Cuthbert flying. Cuthbert beams and laughs with glee. He can fly, as you can see. Wait a minute. But you know as well as I, calves were never meant to fly. So beaming, oh, let's see. Beaming is like a big toothy smile. Let's see. Beaming. Let's see what kind of pictures we get. Okay. Well, this is a bad example because there are no teeth. But you can say, for example, that baby is beaming. See, it's a big smile. Usually you see the teeth. It's a big, big smile. Beaming. Beaming. It's a big, big, happy smile. Okay, so we've got Cuthbert beams and laughs with glee. Glee is another word for happiness. He can fly, as you can see, but you know as well as I, calves were never meant to fly. Okay. See, this is my first time doing this, so it's awkward. I don't know what I'm doing. I practiced a little bit, but thank goodness nobody's watching. I'll get better. Let's see. Oh, I fly through the air with the greatest of ease. Cuthbert, wait for me. So now that horrible bird who's so mean is falling behind. Let's see. Gee, Mom, what's that funny looking thing? Look at, Mom. What is it, Mom? You know, it's funny. This is unofficial English. It's funny that they put it in here. A lot of times, especially children, but also adults, I think maybe even I would say this sometimes if I'm not thinking, because it's kind of a habit. I think it's something that you say as a child, and sometimes it stays with you even when you're an adult. Instead of just saying, look, they say, look it. Like, maybe that means like, look at this, look at it. But all they say is, look it. It's very common, actually. I remember when I was young, I would say that. I probably still say it, although I don't think about it. Look it. Especially, I think if you're really surprised and you forget about not sounding like a child, maybe you would say that in a moment of big surprise. Look it. But don't talk like that. I'm not saying that you should talk like that. Definitely don't. But it's something you probably will hear, especially from children. Look at, Mom. What is it? What is it, Mom? Little boy, you shouldn't annoy strangers. And then here we have that word again. Gosh, what are you? So that's what you say when you're surprised. You don't say God. I mean, you could. But to me, I mean, that sounds a little bit hard to always say that. I mean, I know, for example, in Spanish, it's no big deal. People say, oh, God, all the time. But, and you could in English, but I don't know. It just sounds better if you say gosh. Not so hard. Save that for when you're angry or really surprised or something like that. Come, or we'll be late. You mustn't play with people you pick up in the air. You might catch something. So that idea of you might catch something, what do you think that could mean? You might catch something. That to me means something very specific. If you just look at the words and you've never heard the phrase before, then it's pretty possible that you won't understand what she's saying. But, you know, we talk about catching things when we're thinking about disease. You catch a cold, anything contagious, a cold. What else is contagious? The flu. We get the idea. Contagious disease, you catch it. So if somebody says you might catch something, that means you might get sick. You might contract some kind of disease. Maybe your mother would say, wash your hands or you'll catch something. Meaning, if you don't wash your hands, you'll get some kind of thing from your hands and you'll get sick. Maybe you're going outside and it's cold or raining and your mother says, wear a coat or you'll catch something. That's wear your coat or you'll get sick. You're going to get some kind of disease. Right, now the baby says, gee, again. That's very common. Of course, I'm sure many of you have heard that before. Gee, you're funny looking, aren't you? I didn't notice this when I was going through before because actually this would be good for an exercise. But that word funny doesn't always mean ha 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 ha. Doesn't mean that. Sometimes it means strange, not normal. And that's how it's being used here. He's saying you look strange. It's very common to use the word funny to mean strange. And a lot of people don't know that. It's been my experience that a lot of people don't know that. Gee, you're funny looking, aren't you? You're strange looking. Not maybe that too. But I think the main idea is you're strange looking. You look strange. What's your ceiling? I'm not sure why they're asking that question. If you know what, let me show you a picture of a ceiling. This is a ceiling. Maybe, I'm not sure why he's asking that question. That doesn't make sense to me. But maybe he's saying, like, what is your limit? How high can you go? That could be it, but I'm not sure. What is your ceiling? What kind of motor have you? What's your apartment? Can you do this? It's very strangely written. What's your apartment? Gosh, I don't know. Okay, so can you do this? Bet you can't. Now, there's an expression that we like to use all the time, which is I bet. Like, this is, and if you know what betting is, just in case you don't, this is a good opportunity to use pictures. Betting is something like this. That's betting. Or like this is betting. It's funny because I guess sports betting is very popular. I didn't realize that. I thought that we would see more pictures of things like Las Vegas. But even here, when they're showing like a casino, they focus on sports betting. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Okay, but now you understand what betting is. And it's very normal or very usual in English when people are challenging someone, saying like, you can't do that. They'll say, I bet you can't do that. Meaning I will put money that you can't do that. And it's not literal. I mean, they're not offering to make a transaction with you. But it's very normal. I bet you can't. That when you put I bet you together, it sounds like bet you. And these long consonant sounds, like you, tend to become short. And so instead of saying you, it becomes ya, betcha. I bet you can't. Bet you can't. So can you do this? I bet you can't. I would put money that you can't do it. So Cuthbert accepts the challenge, and this is what happens. Oh, I don't feel very good. Okay. Let's see. Here we've got that word again. I didn't even notice that word when I was looking at this earlier, but it seems to be everywhere. Gosh. I say that a lot. I say that all the time. You certainly are an out-of-date model. What do you think that means to be out of date? Let's see. Let's find an example of something out of date. How about... it's the opposite of modern, really. But let's just look at an example. What do you think about this cell phone? Would you like to use that cell phone? Did you ever use a cell phone like that? I certainly did. In the 90s. That looks like a 90s cell phone to me. Or what about this one? This is an out-of-date cell phone. It means like not modern, old. Old cell phone. I had a cell phone like that. I think I still have it in one of my drawers here. That's like the mid-90s cell phone. But you can say it's out of date. An out-of-date cell phone. Okay, let's see. So he says, gosh, you certainly are an out-of-date model. So this is like he's an iPhone calling Cuthbert one of the cell phones I just showed you. An out-of-date model. That's what I just showed you. And then Cuthbert says, help, I'm falling. Oh, pardon me. Gosh, I'm ruined. My only pair of wings. Anyway, it looks as if someone already invented wings. Oh, that's the old man saying that. Gosh, I'm ruined. My only pair of wings. Anyway, it looks as if someone already invented wings. Well, why is he saying that? What, because of the bird? Oh, maybe because of the little airplane. Okay. All right, then his assistant or whoever that is, or is that the bird? That's the bird. Okay, I can't see very well. Poop. Cuthbert ruined. Cuthbert. Poop. Cuthbert. He's ruined too. That doesn't make any sense to me. Well, poop. That's not a very nice word. There are other words that are worse. I mean, I can say poop on YouTube. I won't get in trouble for it. I'm not going to show you any pictures. If you want to know, you can look it up what it means. But he's ruined too. I wonder why he says he's ruined. Oh, maybe because he's falling to the ground. Maybe like he's dead. Maybe that's why. Because then the little airplane in the next frame has saved him. Saved. Oh boy. And again, oh boy, it's one of these expressions that you always hear for excitement. Not so common anymore, I guess. I like to say it, but I like old-fashioned expressions, so I would say it, but I don't know if other people would say it. Little boy, I don't think it's safe for you to be in the air. So the airplane is lecturing him. If you're responsible for this child, you'd better ground it. His equipment is much too old-fashioned to be safe in the air. Oh, wow. He's insulting this man's invention. Old-fashioned? My life's work? So he's not very happy. Old-fashioned. Well, you probably know what that is, but this is really for beginners. So let's see what happens if we look for a picture of something old-fashioned. Oh, we get a drink. There's an alcoholic drink called an old-fashioned. So let's try something else. Okay, so for example, whoops. Do you think this is a modern style or an old-fashioned style? It's pretty old-fashioned. Unfortunately. in my opinion. Do you think this is a modern style or an old-fashioned style? It's pretty old-fashioned. Let's see what else can we find. Is this a modern style or an old-fashioned style? That's an old-fashioned style. All right, so wait, let's go back to. I keep clicking on the wrong things. Oh well. By the time anybody starts watching these, I'll understand what I'm doing. Phrasal verb, I'll get the hang of it. Okay. So let's see. So if you're responsible for this child, you'd better ground it. His equipment is much too old-fashioned. So that's kind of an insult, saying it's very primitive, it's old, there are many better things now than this. Old-fashioned? My life's work? Don't worry, I'll never fly again. That's what Cuthbert says. Okay, and then help, I'm falling. Oh, pardon me. Saved. Oh boy. Little boy, I don't think it's safe for you to be in the air. Okay, and that's... Oh wait. Sorry. Let's see. I'll take you up on your offer to help rebuild my house. I'll have to go back and invent something modern. To take someone up on an offer means to accept the offer. Remember earlier, Cuthbert ruined that man's house, and he said, oh, I'll help you repair it. And now the old man is saying, I'll take you up on your offer. I'll accept your offer. I'll have to go back and invent something modern. And now he wants to invent something more modern besides his wings. And then Cuthbert, or the bird says, don't worry, Cuthbert. You're brave, even if you are clumsy. Clumsy, let's see what happens if we find that word here, clumsy. So this is clumsy, 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 clumsy. You get the idea of clumsy? Oh, I think that's about it. Clumsy. Clumsy. Okay, and that is the end of the story. Now I have picked out a couple of things that we can practice today. Let's see. Let me just find it. Actually, we're going to switch to a different screen. Oops. Oh no, where's my picture? Uh-oh. See, before I had my video up here and everything was fine. Now, well, I don't know how to show myself. Wait a minute, what is this? Oh, okay, here we go. That's better. All right, now we're going to do the exercises, but this actually is not good because this isn't how I wanted to arrange it, but oh well. I'll figure out what I did wrong later. Okay, so let me just find this here. I thought I had all this ready, but of course, when it's time to do it. Okay. The first phrase that I want to talk about is with nothing to do. Let's see if we can No. I had all this worked out. Now it's not working out for me. All right, well that's fine. Okay, we don't need it. So in the beginning of the story, we have Cuthbert is a little calf. Calf is a little baby cow who loves to jump about and laugh with nothing else to do all day. So we have that phrase, nothing else to do. And that means that you're bored. If you have nothing to do, you're a bored person. You have no responsibilities. You have no special action to do. No studying, no cleaning. That do is like a placeholder for activities. So let's see, if we make a sentence, if we say, John is bored, John is bored, and then let's make a why question with that sentence. John is bored. He is bored. Why? Why is he bored? Why is he? Why is he? Why is wise? Why is he? Why is he? Why is he? Why is he? Why is he bored? Why is he bored? Why is he bored? Why is he bored? Why is John bored? Why is John bored? Why is he bored? Let's here's the reason. He has nothing to do. He has no responsibilities. He's bored because he has nothing to do. He's bored because he has nothing to do. Let's say there's only one activity. Let's say that he has to wait. So maybe he's sitting at the airport and he doesn't have any computer or smartphone or something, so he can just sit there twiddling his thumbs. There's nothing to do but wait. He's bored because he has nothing to do but wait. He's bored because he has nothing to do but wait. Let's try another example. Lucy is daydreaming. Daydreaming. Do you know what daydreaming is? That's when you just sit there and you think about somewhere else. Oh, I'm at the beach. Oh, I'm on vacation. Oh, I'm at home watching TV. Something like that. That's daydreaming, when your mind is in a different place. Lucy is daydreaming. Let's make a why question. Why? Why is she? Why is she? Why is she daydreaming? Here's the answer. She has nothing to do. She has nothing to do. She's daydreaming because she has nothing to do. She is daydreaming because she has nothing to do. She has no other activities, no responsibilities, nothing to do. That's what you say. She has nothing to do. Let's say the reason she has nothing to do is because she's sick and she has to stay in bed. She has nothing to do but daydream. She has nothing to do but daydream because she's sick. She has nothing to do but daydream and sit in bed. There are no other activities for her. She can't do anything else, only sit there. So that's why she's daydreaming. There's no other activity but daydreaming. She has nothing to do but daydream. She has nothing to do but daydream and sit in bed. Let's try one more. Mary and John are playing video games. Let's make a why question. Why? Why are they? Why are they? Why are they? Why are they playing video games? Why are they playing video games? How can you say there are no other options available to them? How can you say it's the only activity possible right now is playing video games? Let's use nothing to do but. They have nothing to do. They have nothing to do but play. They have nothing to do but play video games. They have nothing to do but play video games. There are no other options. So the only option, they're playing video games because they have nothing else to do. They have nothing to do but play video games. Okay. So the only options for Cuthbert, the calf, are running and playing. In other words, he has no other responsibilities. He doesn't know about any other activities. Cuthbert is a little calf who loves to jump about and laugh with nothing else to do all day. but eat and grow and run and play. Is that pretty clear what that means? Maybe it didn't make sense the first few times we read it, but it should make more sense now that we've practiced it a little bit. He has nothing else to do. No activities, no responsibilities, only running and playing. Let's look at another expression from the story. Here we've got the bird saying, "Oh, how ugly, which isn't very nice. And I don't think that Cuthbert is ugly, but the bird doesn't like Cuthbert. The bird thinks that Cuthbert is an ugly calf, an ugly baby cow, an ugly calf. Let's see. You can use the word how plus an adjective to express your surprise at something. If I tell you the price of my very new computer, how can you express your surprise at the price using the word expensive? Oh, how expensive. So when you're surprised at something, you say how plus whatever word it is, usually an adjective. How expensive. If I tell you a crazy story, how can you communicate that you're surprised at the craziness of the story? How crazy. How crazy. If I tell you about my wonderful vacation, how can you be surprised? How can you show me that you're very surprised at the nice story I just told you? How nice. How nice. It's a way of expressing surprise at something that somebody is telling you. How plus an adjective. Here, the bird is surprised because Cuthbert is so ugly. Okay, let's see. Now the next word we have is awkward. Let me just bring that slide up here. I'm very awkward with this new way of doing things. Okay. He couldn't be dangerous. He's so awkward. Now, awkward, I showed you all those pictures. Awkward means uncomfortable. And let's see. Here's a situation, for example. Mike is very uncomfortable speaking in front of people. And because he's uncomfortable, he makes many mistakes with his words. Maybe he moves his eyes a lot. Or he does strange things with his hands while he's talking, or maybe he doesn't know what to do with his hands. He's very uncomfortable in this situation where he's talking to people. So instead of saying that John is very uncomfortable speaking in front of people, let's use the word awkward. He's very awkward speaking in front of people. And because instead of saying uncomfortable, which is just about feelings, when you say awkward, now I understand weird movements, or maybe his ability to talk is compromised or something like that. So I can imagine much more when you use the word awkward instead of uncomfortable. He moves in a strange way. He touches his face. He plays with his hair. That's what it means. So if we say that John is very awkward speaking in front of people, let's make a why question. Why is he? 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 Why is he awkward? Why is he awkward speaking? Why is he awkward speaking in front of people? In front of people. In front of people. In front of. In front of. In front of. In front of people. In front of people. In front of people. In front of people. Why is he awkward speaking in front of people? Okay, and the reason is he isn't very social. He's very awkward speaking in front of people because he isn't very social. He's very awkward speaking in front of people because he isn't very social. He is very awkward speaking in front of people. He's very awkward speaking in front of people because he isn't very social. Because he isn't very social. All right, let's try another awkward example, as if this whole video has not been an exercise in awkwardness. Mary is uncomfortable painting pictures in art class. Okay, now think about that for a minute, because you can't just go to an art class and start painting. It takes a very long time to do the right technique and become very comfortable with using a brush. So anybody who first starts painting will always be very awkward. They don't know how to hold the brush. They're not comfortable holding the brush. And the painting will never be perfect. It will look very awkward. The lines will be weird. The colors will be weird. This is how you use awkward when, I guess maybe it could be almost, it's not always, but mostly physically uncomfortable. The focus is more towards physical, I think, when you use awkward. Okay, so we could say she's an awkward painter. She's an awkward painter. And when you say that, it doesn't mean that she feels uncomfortable. Maybe it means a little bit she feels uncomfortable. But what I imagine more is the way that she holds the brush, the way that she paints the picture it's not right. There's something wrong about it. The way she moves is wrong. Let's make a why question. So our sentence is, she's an awkward painter. Let's ask a why question. Why? Why is she? Why is she? Why is she an? Why is she an? Why is she an awkward painter? Why is she an awkward painter? Why is she an awkward painter? Okay, and the reason is she's just beginning. She is an, she's an, she's an awkward painter because she's just beginning. She's an awkward painter because she's just beginning. Okay, let's try one more example of awkward. Mark's English is very uncomfortable. Okay, so I don't want to say that Mark is uncomfortable speaking English. Maybe he is, but the words that he uses or the way he puts the words together, it doesn't work. It's like the painting. You know, she's trying, she's using the right colors, she's holding the brush, but she's not holding it correctly, and she's not making the right lines, or she's not mixing the paints correctly or using the right pressure. Same thing with a language. If we say his English is awkward, he can speak English, he can express his ideas, but the words are a little bit wrong, or they're in the wrong place, or it takes him a long time to make the words. That's the uncomfortable part about this, if that makes sense. It's a good word, awkward. It's worth it to spend some time thinking about this word awkward, because it's a very good and useful word to know. It's used in a lot of different situations. Here's the reason. Because he needs to study more. Oh, I think we have to make a why question. So we say his English is very awkward. Let's make a why question. Why? Why is his? 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 Why is his English awkward? Why is his English awkward? Why is his English awkward? Here's the reason. He needs to study more. His English is awkward because he needs to study more. His English is awkward. His English is awkward because he needs to study more. His English is awkward because he needs to study more. Okay, when the bird says that Cuthbert can't be dangerous because he's awkward, it means Cuthbert moves in a way that shows he's uncomfortable moving. He needs to improve his movements. He moves like a baby. Baby, which is what a calf is. It's a baby cow. You know, think about the way a baby tries to walk. That's a very awkward walk because the baby's not comfortable moving. He doesn't have enough practice yet. So that's why the bird says he's very awkward. He doesn't move very well. It's very obvious. Okay, let's go on to another word here. Let's see. Now here the bird says, I must be off. I have a date with the flowers and the words. And actually, I think it's such a common thing to say, although it's a very unusual thing. And a lot of people who are learning English never learn this or learn it very late, is this idea of being off. That's what you say when you're leaving, when you're going away. You say, I must be off, to be off. I'm off, bye, I'm off, bye. Or I must be off, I have to go. To be off means I'm leaving, I'm going away. And it's extremely common. That's a very common. I even missed it when we were reading it. I should have mentioned it when we were talking about it. But it's one of those little sneaky things that's so common you forget to talk about it sometimes. So to be off, it does mean other things actually, but here it means I'm leaving. Now here's an example. If I say John is leaving for work, so he's going from his house and he's traveling to work, what is another way that we can say that using to be off? We would say John is off to work. So you can use that word to, and it's like a little arrow telling us where is he going. He's off to work. I'm off to the store. I'm off to work. I'm off to the park. So you use to tell us the destination of the place. John is off to work. Let's see. Let's make a who question. Who? Who is? Who's off? Who is off? Who's off? Who's off to work? Who's off to work? Let's say Mary. Mary is. Mary's off. Mary's off to work. That means Mary's leaving her house and her destination is work. Mary's off to work. Let's change work to the beach. Mary's off to the beach. Mary's off to the beach. That means Mary's going to the beach. She's leaving someplace, probably her home, and she's going to the beach. Let's add the reason. It's for vacation. Mary's off to the beach for vacation. Mary's off to the beach for vacation. She's leaving her house and she's going to the beach. That's her destination, and the reason is for vacation. Mary's off to the beach for vacation. Let's make a when question with that sentence. When? When is she? When's she? When's she off? When's she off to the beach? When's she off to the beach for vacation? And we can answer next week. She's off to the beach for vacation next week. She's off to the beach for vacation next week. All right, so now we can take a look at and again, it's very worthwhile to know this because it's extremely common to use this to be off, meaning I'm leaving. And now we can see what the bird is saying. He's saying, well, I must be off. That means I'm leaving, I'm going, I'm leaving this place, goodbye. So sometimes that's how people say goodbye. I'm off. Well, I'm off. Here he says, I must be off. So I have a date with the flowers in the woods. I'm off. I have a date with the flowers in the woods. Okay, let's move on to another phrase that we have here. How about, let me just find it here. Wait a minute. Here we go. In this frame, we've got, when he tries to leave the ground, he's sometimes up and sometimes down. All right. We use trying to when we want to complete a goal, but there's something stopping us. There's something preventing us. We can't finish the goal. We can't complete the goal. Or we're still in the process of completing the goal. So if we say, Mark is having a difficult time studying. Mark has a difficult time studying. How can we say this in a different way using trying to? Trying to study. Trying to study. Mark is trying to study. He's trying to study. Okay, let's see. He's trying to study. but there are a lot of distractions. He's trying to study, but there are a lot of distractions. Now let's change the first part of the idea. What if Lisa and John are having a conversation, but it's not successful? How can you say this using trying to? So that they're having a difficult time having a discussion, having a conversation. They're trying to. Now you have to put a verb. They're trying to have. They're trying to have a conversation. They're trying to have a conversation. They're trying to have a conversation, but there are too many distractions. They're trying to have a conversation, but there are too many distractions. All right. Instead of having a conversation, let's say play a game. So they want to play a game. That's their intention, but it's very difficult to play a game because of the distractions. They're trying to. They're trying to play a. They're trying to play a. They're trying to play a game. They're trying to play a game, but they're trying to play a game, but there are. They're trying to play a game, but there are. They're trying to play a game, but there are too many distractions. Okay, and now we can see here, if it wasn't obvious before, hopefully it's more obvious now, that when we say that he tries to leave the ground, he's having a difficult time leaving the ground. He's making an attempt, and it's always a failure. He's sometimes up and he's sometimes down. Okay, now we've just got one more here. One more thing to practice, which is just the spot. And again, this is a very good one. It's a very useful thing to know. Let me just put up the frame here. And the bird says, ah, this is just the spot. It's easy. Just do what I do. And that word spot could mean several things, but here what it means is location, place. This is the right place. This is the perfect place. When you want to say, when you have especially if you have an activity to do and you find the perfect location, the perfect place to do this thing, you say this is just the spot. This is the perfect location. Now here, I'm going to give you a sentence, which is, the library is the best place for dancing. Okay, that's not true, but we're going to play around with this phrase. What is another way of saying the library is the perfect place, the best place for dancing? You have to use just the spot. The library is just the spot for dancing. Ah, the library is just the spot for dancing. It's the perfect place to dance. Okay. Let's see. Let's make a yes-no question with this sentence. So, is the library? Is the library just the spot? Is the library just the spot for dancing? Is it the perfect place for dancing? Is it the exact best location for dancing? No, it's not. Is the library just the spot for dancing? Try to say the whole question. Is the library just the spot for dancing? Is that the perfect place for dancing? No. How would you answer no to that question? No. No, the library. No, the library is not. No, the library isn't. No, the library is not. No, the library is not just the spot for dancing. It's not the perfect place for dancing. It's not the best place for dancing. Now, let's make this more complicated and try to make a what for question. So we have the library, but what is the library good for? What is the library? What's the library just the spot for? This is a what for question. What is the library just the spot for? What does that mean? If I ask you that question, if I say, what is the library just the spot for. What am I asking you? What is the perfect activity to do in the library? Can you guess? For reading, or maybe studying, or something like that, but it's not for dancing. The library is just the spot. The library is just the spot for reading. Oh, the library is just the spot for reading. It's the perfect place to read. The library is just the spot for reading. All right. Well, let's try another example here. Let's see. Okay, the other side of town. So if we're on one side of the town, the other side of the town is the perfect place for parking. The other side of town is the perfect place for parking. What is another way, probably a more common way, of saying the perfect place for an activity? Just the spot. The library is just, thinking about the other one. The other side of town is just the spot for parking. The other side of town, you're here. The other side of town is just the spot, the perfect place to park your car. The other side of town is just the spot for parking. Now let's make a yes/no question with this sentence. The other side of town is just the spot for parking. Is the other side of town, is the other side of town just the spot, the perfect place? Is the other side of town just the spot for parking? How would you answer no to that question? No. No the other, no the other side, no the other side of town, no the other side of town is not, no the other side of town isn't, no the other side of town's not, no the other side of town's not just a spot for parking, no the other side of town's not just the spot for parking. Okay, now let's make a where question. Where is just the spot, the perfect place? Where is just the spot for parking? Where is just the spot for parking? Here is the answer: the street where you live. The street where you live. The street where you live is just the spot. It's the perfect place. The street where you live is just the spot for parking. The street where you live is just the spot for parking, not the other side of town. That would be horrible. Okay. So now when we look at this frame again and we look at what they're saying here, and it says, just the spot. It's easy. Just do what I do, because the bird is teaching the calf how to fly. So he's saying, this is the perfect place for me to teach you how to fly. And you can see, because there's this cliff here, it's a good place for him to jump off and die. All right, well, those are the only exercises that I have written out for today. And like I said, this is a pretty basic one, but there are some very interesting phrases in here. There were more. I just didn't have time to do more. Maybe next time I'll do. So I'm thinking I'll probably do some more of these basic ones, these children's ones, which are very simple, but also some very interesting, more adult-themed ones with very complicated things in them. And this was just kind of a test to see how long it would take and all of that good stuff. And well, it was 1 hour, but I think we can do 2 or 3. Let's try. So I'm probably going to cut the last part up into little exercises, little short videos, and then you can just run the exercises if you want. But if you think this is interesting, and if you happen to see these because of the little exercises, I plan on doing this all the time now. So subscribe to my channel, like the video, and watch me next time. But if you're going to leave comments or something, I'm still not sure how to do that yet. So it's going to take me a while to adjust to this. But That's okay. Nobody's watching, so I don't care. We'll do it slowly. Slowly, step by step. Okay. All right. Well, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.